Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Keron Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, Mr. Rose. Man, you know what happens right now. DJ, you know we're in the building. You gotta fade us all the way out. Because we gotta talk to the people. It is June 7th. My goodness. How did we reach June already? June 7th, 2024. How did we get to June already? This is episode number 161. Oh my goodness. Wow. I feel like the year's done. And you know what makes me feel like the year's done already? Is because July, they have Christmas in July. Why are we doing this, man? Why do we have Christmas in July? Making me feel like, Christmas in July is a stone's throw away from actual Christmas. But on a real, for real, this year, 2024, I feel like I've said this, for the past 5 or 6 years, but the time is flying. The years are flying by. My goodness. And, I'm back. I'm in full, I'm ready to rumble after my trip to Colombia. After Colombia, I was sick for a week. Like I had one meal when I came back into Trinidad and got sick like a dog, and I was out for a week. And then right after recouping, one of my good friends, Miss Estrian Danzel, passed away. She was in a car accident, and I feel like I needed to take a couple more days to just kind of, just relax. Because outside in Trinidad and Tobago right now, it's really scary with everything that's going on. But I will save that for another conversation, because I actually have an episode planned where I want to talk about the state of affairs of TNT. Just kind of being here, just trying to, build yourself, develop yourself personally, build a business. Right now, it's rough, and I feel like we are living in an extremely hostile and traumatic environment where even when you want to do right, the way things are set up with our rules, regulations, leadership, government, everything is not good. It's not working. Nothing in Trinidad works the way that it's supposed to work. Nothing works as advertised. Not one thing. And I personally have never been in a situation where nothing around you works. You can't even pick up the phone and call 911 or 999. 999 is what it is in Trinidad. 911 is what it is, in Canada and the States and whatnot. But you can't even pick up the phone and call police. You might get a busy tone. They might put you on hold and you might wait for an hour to speak to somebody. So things ain't it's not where it needs to be, and it's feeling stifling. But like I said, I don't want to get into that today. I have an episode planned where I need to collect my thoughts on that one and kind of put it in perspective. But I say all that to say that I definitely needed some time after the getting sick, vacation with the family where I wasn't doing any work, and then coming back, and then friend passes away, and it was just like but we're back into the swing of things now. Which brings us to today's episode. Today's episode, we want to dive into 3 gaps where Caribbean businesses are failing digitally. And these 3 gaps, the topic kind of came on because whether you know or you don't know, Google had their event the other day, and they were diving in deep on their new AI-powered search engine, right? Now, AI is going to be coming on board for every platform. ChatGPT is integrated into Bing. Google is going to be integrating Gemini heavily into Google search. And AI search is going to be a big thing, right? But the more I'm learning about AI search, I have to kind of put things into perspective, and we are no longer conducting search in any one place. There are multiple places where we are conducting search, right? There is a reason why every single social media platform for the past 2 years has been trying to build a better internal search capabilities. Social media is not a search engine, right? It doesn't work anything remotely close to how the actual search engines work, but they are doubling down on stepping up their game to help you search to find content, right? But it's still nowhere near as close and nowhere near as good as what the actual search engines do. And that's okay, because social media is meant to be what it is, a social networking platform, right? They were never built for search, whereas search engines were strictly built for search, and they've just been improving and improving and improving. Now, we in the Caribbean, whilst search is being dominated all across the board on every platform, from the search engines to the AI tools to social media getting better at search capabilities, the Caribbean is not taking advantage of any of it, right? This is why, to this date, when you need to find a product or a service, you still can, or information, most importantly, information, you still cannot find correct information. You can't find products. We all already know that the shopping experience, if you're here in Trinidad and Tobago, is absolutely abysmal. It's the worst thing I've ever seen and experienced in my entire life. It's to the point I don't shop in Trinidad. I outside of the bare necessities, food, mainly food, I don't shop in Trinidad. And that's because I can't find anything. I gave you guys a story some months back where my mouse died and I wanted to buy the new Logitech MX3S. Is that what I have? MX3S? I don't know what I have. I think it's the MX3S. And it was to replace my MX2S. And I know there are people that are selling the MX3S in Trinidad because the Logitech MX series is one of the more popular mouses on the market. So if you're into computers and selling accessories, more than likely you're going to stock a Logitech mouse or something. Anyways, I went searching and I could find absolutely nothing, nowhere online. Like nowhere, according to, social media and Google and Bing, nobody sells Logitech anything in Trinidad because you couldn't find anything, right? So then I'm like, you know what? This is a good time to just kind of let me see if I can make a post and see if I can get something. And I went online, went on Facebook, went on Instagram, and I was like, hey, does anybody know anywhere selling any Logitech mouses? And I got responses. People tagged businesses. Businesses didn't even respond to being tagged, even though you're seeing somebody asking for a specific product and people are tagging your businesses. No business ever responded to any of the posts. I messaged the businesses never responded. And then when I called the businesses, some of them answered, others didn't. But guess what? Nobody sold the Logitech mouses. They just sold regular schmegular mouses, whatever, right? And what ended up happening? I went on eBay, searched found what I wanted, add to cart, bought. It was in my hands within 5 days. We are not taking advantage of any of the digital tools, channels, platforms to really help our businesses sell and be found. And this is becoming a growing problem, or a problem that's the gap is getting, larger and larger to the rest of the world, because search is dominating everything. Search is dominating search engines. AI, we're now getting AI powered search, right? And I'm going to have a dedicated episode to AI search, right? But AI search is coming on board, and that's going to be getting us information even faster than before. And you have voice search, you have search on smart screens, you have search inside the AI tools themselves. People go to ChatGPT, Google Gemini for information and whatnot. And that's why the AI tools are now connected to the internet to pull from the Bing data sets in the case of ChatGPT, and then to pull from the Google data sets in the case of Google Gemini. And then we have social media platforms doubling down on building better search capabilities for you to find the things that you want to find on social media. Search is being dominated on every single platform, right? So people want to get information on products, services, to purchase products faster, right? And in the Caribbean, we're missing the boat. We are missing the boat. So we need to dive in on that. We need to talk about, 3 areas where, Caribbean businesses are failing, and, the advent of search being dominated on every single digital platform that we use, it's really hurting our businesses, right? And this is a challenge that we're facing in the digital landscape. And it's primarily due to the failure of not understanding the broad digital world beyond social media and learning how these platforms beyond social media work. All right. On top of that, when it comes to creating content about our products and services, we don't produce content on any meaningful platform beyond social media, right? And then we are slaves to the algorithm. So if you don't know how to create amazing content, if you don't know how each of the platforms work, then your content goes nowhere. You're just producing mediocre content, and you're not even understanding how each individual platform works, and then you get no results. And then you think, well, marketing on the whole just doesn't work, right? And this has broad implications because it's affecting our visibility in the global markets, and it's affecting, whether our businesses are showing up in search engines and also now the AI tools. And you have to keep in mind that our customers are no longer just the people from around the block. Listen, the Caribbean region is the number 1 spot for tourism, right? The Caribbean region is the number 1 spot for tourism in the world. So when these people are jumping off the cruise ships, the planes, the pirogues, however they're getting to our countries, they don't know nobody. But you know what they do have? You know what they do know how to use? They know how to use their phone. So they jump on Google, they jump on Bing, they jump in Google Gemini. We've seen Google Gemini being integrated into almost everything on Android devices, all right? And that's going to play a bigger role in the coming months. They don't know anybody, so they're jumping on their phone to get the information to find you. Hey, where can we get doubles? Where can we get roti? Hey, where can we go water skiing? Where can we go paragliding? We are using our phones to get the information. And we're using it more and more and more. And because Caribbean businesses are not understanding how the digital space works, we are lagging behind. And it's blue ocean right now for those businesses that are putting the necessary things in place and getting the necessary skill sets and understanding so that they know how this thing works, so that they can just show up and get business, even if they're not the best. Just the fact that they can be found puts you ahead of the competitors. So that brings us to our first major gap, and that's the lack of a searchable web presence. I was touching on that. I was already touching on that, right? But many Caribbean businesses are failing digitally because they do not have the most important digital asset, which is your website. And you fail to, or if you do have it, you're failing to utilize it effectively, because there's a number of businesses that do have websites, but they don't produce any kind of content to be found online. The websites are often static. They are rarely ever updated with the correct information. Heck, man, you're going on some websites and you're seeing phone numbers and the phone numbers are dead, right? And most importantly, they are not engaging consumers with valuable content. That is how you show up in search, folks. Producing content on your website, that is how you're going to show up in search. We go on search, we ask questions to get information. And you're not producing it on any meaningful platform outside of social media. And social media is not indexed by the search engines, right? So this absence is detrimental, because when potential customers are seeking that information via the search engines, they find content from international companies or entities instead of local sources. This not only diverts business away from the region, but also increases the risk of spreading misinformation or irrelevant information. The lack of a strong online presence in search engines creates a vacuum where local expertise and insights are vastly underrepresented. The online and shopping experience locally is a complete nightmare. And when we get on the search engines to look for products, since businesses don't have websites typically, or have e-commerce, or have done any form of search engine optimization, guess what, folks? Just like I told you with the mouse, you can never find the products you need locally and end up buying them from international organizations. And I can hear people saying now, but we could just go on Facebook and find information, or we can find the products. Let's just go on Facebook or go on Instagram, right? Or we could just ask our community. Now, let me highlight 3 problems with this in the Caribbean, okay? Going on social media to ask where products are, or trying to get information. 1, most businesses don't even optimize their content on social media platforms and leverage the search capabilities on social media, instead opting to list almost all of their products in a caption, which ends up not being found when you are conducting a search on social media. I shop online 100% of the time, and like I said, outside of food, I don't buy anything locally to this day because I never find anything I'm looking for on social media. Here's the second problem. You might make a post asking for recommendations, and people will tag the businesses or make suggestions. The businesses then don't answer their messages and hardly even answer their phones when you call them to find out if they have what you are looking for, thus creating a negative shopping experience from the jump. And 3, this I think is another major problem that we're not talking about: privacy. There are lots of items that people buy that they don't want the public to know about, or maybe they're buying gifts and they don't want the friends or families to know what is being bought because they're buying it for them, right? And they're connected online. So due to privacy, they prefer not to make a post on social media asking for assistance in locating an item. Now, again, I'm not saying that social media cannot help you. I am saying that there are also problems. It's not 100% that, okay, just because a business doesn't have a website, we can just go on social media and get what we want. That's not always the case, folks. Worse, when businesses are getting tagged and you get a free sale. All you got to do is respond, and you don't respond to the tag because you're not managing your social media platforms. Or worse, even worse, the person then gets your phone number and calls you because you were tagged, and you don't even answer your phones. Shups. Let's dive into the second problem, the second gap: the overlooked importance of content indexing in AI. As I was saying before, as artificial intelligence becomes more integrated into everyday tools like ChatGPT or Google Gemini, and even the new AI search engines, the content indexed by search engines becomes crucial. AI systems are trained on the content, and unfortunately, because Caribbean businesses they're failing also because the content they post is predominantly only on social media platforms, which are not indexed by these AI technologies or search engines. This oversight leads to a scenario where AI tools are increasingly used by customers for information and assistance, lack data from Caribbean businesses, thus further invisibilizing them in the digital space. So you're not producing content on your website because you don't have one, or if you do, you're not producing content and it's not optimized for search, which then means it doesn't get indexed by the search engines, which then means it doesn't get indexed by the AI tools. And these are the things that we are using to get our information, our products, our services. Just now. I mean, it's already happening, right? Remember, people are using voice search right now. Hey Siri, hey Google, hey Alexa, pull up the Road Podcaster 2, and you might be a store selling it, but again, your content, your products are not available online, and you're not being pulled up in search. You're not being pulled up in the AI tools. Nothing. But the businesses that are putting these things in place, they stand to benefit the most. Which brings us to a major gap, the point number 3, the shortcomings of short-form content. Caribbean businesses heavily invest in short-form content only for social media platforms, and they neglect the potential and necessity of long-form content. So while short-form content can be engaging, yes, we know that, and it is essential for capturing immediate attention and building community on social media, it typically lacks the depth needed for a thorough understanding or decision-making when people are conducting their research. The type of content businesses are producing is akin to window shopping. It's going to pique people's interest, but rarely leads to deeper engagement or conversion. On the other hand, your long-form content, such as your articles, your blogs, your podcasts, your YouTube videos, not only provides more comprehensive information, but it is also produced and distributed on platforms that are indexed by the search engines, which are then indexed by the AI tools. This indexing gives long-form content longer shelf life, continually driving traffic, leads, and sales years after its publication. Unlike short-form content that quickly fades away due to the fast-paced nature of social media algorithms. Again, this is why there's so much misinformation or incomplete information, because transformation of your audience does not happen in a 10-second, 20-second, 30-second, or 60-second video. The transformation is going to happen when you have your long-form content working in tandem with the short-form content. Your short-form content should be breadcrumbs, bringing people back where they can get the complete picture on that topic. This is why we have the podcast, why we have the YouTube videos, why we have the blog articles. I use social media every day. I produce short-form content every single day. But the goal is to drop enough meaningful short-form pieces of content where people understand the importance of whatever the hell I'm talking about, and then they say, God damn it, I need more information because I need to fully understand this. Imagine if I had all those articles on e-commerce. Not articles. Imagine if I just had all of these short-form videos on e-commerce, payment tools, digital strategies, right? And it's social media. Again, social media is not a search engine. Doesn't do well. It doesn't do search as good as the search engines. So you see video number 1, 30-second video and setting up a PayPal account. But then you got to watch these 10 other videos on social media to get the full complete picture. And it's scattered all over the place. It's not usually succinct. We already know that, right? So when you only have the short form content and you're dropping bits and bits and bits and pieces, people don't get the full complete picture. But if I watch a piece of content on social media and I say, oh, wow, I need to know more. I need to get the full end-to-end picture. I need to get the full step-by-step so I fully understand this. You should have a longer form piece of content in the form of a video, an article, a podcast episode, anywhere that allows you to have, allows you to give the full, complete picture of the topic or the product or the service or the problem that you are addressing. All right? And again, anytime you produce content on the long form platforms, it is always going to be distributed on platforms that get indexed by the search engines. And when you produce your long form content, you could then always chop it down to bite-sized pieces to distribute across social media. So this article talks about 3 gaps. Guess what? This could be a carousel on Instagram and on LinkedIn. This could be 3 separate videos that I post on TikTok or 3 separate reels that I post on Instagram or wherever. And it could be a series, 3 gaps. And each gap I dive in for 60 seconds or 90 seconds, take up the full time for a reel slot, right? Off of just one point. And then let people know, call to action. Hey, if you want to get more information on this and how to solve these problems, we have an article if you prefer to read. And then we also have the podcast that you can turn on wherever you are and listen to that. All right. So how do we move forward? To bridge the digital divide and enhance the competitiveness, Caribbean businesses need to prioritize establishing that robust web presence we constantly talk about. And that includes regularly updated content that is both informative and engaging. Additionally, embracing a balanced content strategy that includes both short-form and long-form content that will ensure that businesses capture the immediate interest and also provide deeper value, driving sustained engagement. You also, by producing content that is indexable by the search engines and AI tools, Caribbean businesses can ensure their visibility in an increasingly digital world. Remember, your people are asking their fridges now, hey Siri, hey Google. Well, not really hey Siri on your fridge, but hey Google, because you have a smart fridge, order me some juice. Or where's the closest grocery store? Like, they're asking these things on their fridges. And you're not showing up for that. Anywho, this strategy not only makes local businesses competitive, but ensures they are part of the global conversation, potentially attracting not just the local consumers, but international audiences and opportunities as well. Remember, folks, your customers are no longer just in the country you are physically in. If you are making snacks that you can ship out, or you're making clothes that you can ship out, how do you expect businesses to find you? How do you expect consumers not in the country to find you? They Google, they search, and you are not showing up in search. Not on the search engines, not in AI, and not on social media. How do you expect to get customers outside of the country that you are physically in when you are invisible and not showing up in the number one way that people find information on products, which is through search? Wherever they're doing their search, you're still not showing up. You're not showing up on Google, on Bing, in the AI tools. You're not showing up on social media when people are conducting that search. And I need to stress this point. Local businesses forget that the Caribbean region is a leader in tourism. When the wider world comes to our shores, they are 95% guided by what research they have done online prior to coming here, or what searches they do in real time. So failure to show up at the exact time when someone is conducting their searches just leads to loss of revenue. And this is a figure that we don't talk about. Nobody calculates how much money they are losing because you cannot be found. This shift is not just about keeping pace with digital global trends, but taking proactive steps to ensure the survival and growth of Caribbean business ecosystems in the digital age. These are key areas where Caribbean businesses fail digitally, and they need to address this immediately in order to start putting in the right infrastructure, the tools, and learn the strategies to build in the digital age. We're tired of DMing for price. We're tired of going online, trying to get information, and the information from the horse's mouth is not there on their own platforms, which then forces us to go on social media and ask people, hey, how do we do this? Or is this available? Where can we find this? Does anybody know the opening and closing times of this? And it just leads to misinformation. Because you might get 20 people responding and only one person is right. But you got to sift through all of that pointless information because the businesses or the companies or the entities, the institutions themselves are not putting the information out there on a platform that allows you to easily find it and consume it. You try to get any information about insurance, loans, investments. We have all of these companies that offer loans, insurance, and investments, but guess what? They don't produce any content on any meaningful platform that allows us to find the information quickly and get what we need so that we are informed. And instead, you got to call and wait and hope and pray somebody answers to provide you that information. We got to do better. We're halfway through 2024. This is a conversation that you're not finding in most places in the world because they're putting in the basic infrastructure and they understand that, hey, we need to have this in order for our customers to find us. We are busy just posting static images of our products on social media, hoping it gets some type of traction, or producing mediocre content for social media, hoping that somebody notices it. And then we have to overspend to boost the garbage posts that we're putting out on social media, only for more people to see the garbage we're putting out. And then they don't engage, they don't interact, they don't buy. But then guess what? You don't even have your e-commerce website for people to just see your garbage content, go to your website, add to cart and order. We then got to call you and hope you answer. You realize how many times I said we got to hope that these businesses answer or respond? In 2024, we are hoping. We're still hoping. I say all of this because we have to do better. Doing business with businesses in the Caribbean is not a fun experience. The only business that I really enjoy doing business with in Trinidad and Tobago is WebSource. I don't got to talk to nobody. They've built tools for every platform. They have the app that works amazing. The website works great. They are responsive under emails. I pay for my goods via the app. Walk in, scan a QR code. It gets brought out to me. I'm out within 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Or the delivery driver comes, I've already paid for it via the app, and he just hands you the package and, how's the dogs, how's the cats, how's the kids? We good, man. Have yourself a good one. And he's off. We got to do better. We have everything that we need to build the basics, and we're just not doing it. We have everything we need to build the basics and put the necessary infrastructure in place to have a solid customer experience, and it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Outside of that, in Trinidad, Food Drop. Food Drop offers an amazing experience as well. And if you are a restaurant owner or selling food or anything like that, I'd advise you to be on Food Drop. Because chances are, half the time, we're not coming to the restaurants to sit down, but we still want your food. I can't say the last time I've gone to a restaurant and sat down in Trinidad, but I order food a lot. And it doesn't matter where the restaurant is. If the restaurant is on the eastern side of the country, the western side, central of the country, I've ordered food from everywhere but south. And not because south doesn't have good food, just because I know that charge is going to be ridiculous. But I've ordered food from Chaguanas. I've ordered food from Port of Spain, from the west, from Arima. I've ordered food from most parts of the country to my house. And I wouldn't go and sit down at the restaurant. I'm busy, but I'm hungry. So you need to start putting these things in place, man. We can't go into 2025 with 2010 or 2005 problems still haven't being addressed. We cannot go into 2025 when businesses still haven't addressed problems from 2005. We can't do it. And like I said, the world is passing us by. The world has already lapped us. In Colombia, I'm pulling out my phone. I have my Bank of America and my Wise digital cards connected to my phone. We're buying churros on the side of the road, and I'm just tapping my phone. My brother's not even pulling out his phone. He lives back in Toronto. My brother's just tapping his watch and paying for churros. And my brother's surprised. My brother's like, wow, I didn't think, Colombia would be, up on game like that. I thought this was going to be, like Trinidad, cash heavy. Man, we didn't take out no money, man. We had enough money for taxis. That was it. Everything else, tap our phone, tap our watch. That was it. And we have the technology right here in Trinidad and Tobago. We have all of it. We just don't implement any of it. So we can't go into 2025 not having addressed the problems from 2005. Okay? We gotta make that change, man. We got to make that change. But I've said all I need to say on the topic. It's Friday. I got Digital World happening at 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Freedom 106.5 FM. Tune in if you're in Trinidad and Tobago. Or I will make a link to in the show notes for you to tune in. It's 12 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. All right. And you could watch the live stream on the website. Whether it's video or just play the audio, up to you. All right. I'll put that link in the show notes. But yeah, man. Happy Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Make sure to drop a review on the podcast. You guys are sticking on me, man. We get hundreds of downloads for every single episode. Not enough reviews. So please do me a favor. Rate the podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, rate the podcast. If you guys enjoy the content, drop a review. The reviews help. The ratings help grow the podcast across the entire world. We are on the podcast charts in Trinidad, Jamaica, Bahamas, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Barbados. Come on, folks. Grenada as well. Come on, show some love. Drop a rating, drop a review. Help me out. Help your boy out. I don't ask for much, right? And all this content is free. Drop a review, man. Least you could do for me. We're also on YouTube, so the podcast also gets published on YouTube as well, so you can watch the content or listen to the content on YouTube, all right? If you are following me or not following me on social media, it's KeronRose on all social media platforms. I'm most active on LinkedIn, Instagram. Check out the stories. Always show the behind the scenes as to what's going on and what we're doing. Also, check out the KeronRose.com website to learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms. Check out the Digipreneur FM website to stay up to date on all things happening with the podcast. Every single Wednesday, we have the Digipreneur column inside of the Jamaica Observer. On Thursdays, we have the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday Digipreneur column, and every Tuesday, 7 a.m. on CNC3, we have the Digipreneur segment with myself and JW, Jason Williams. Okay? We're busy. We working. We are working. And I got some big announcements. I'll save that for the next episode as well because they are important and they're really going to shape how we move forward in the second half of the year. And I'm really excited. But anywho, that's it from me. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. All right? Take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Keron Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Keron Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.